My name is Mike Johnson. I'm with the Adventure Medics, and would really just sincerely appreciate the invitation to be a part of the Arbor Talks. When Diane and Edwin gave me a call to go, hey, would you be interested? And the answer was absolutely yes. And the topic was, hey, you're a subject matter expert. I think one of them actually said. So one of my, I would consider a mentor, said, what does it take to be a subject matter expert? And what he said was, you had to be at least two of these. One of them was, you had to cross a river until you get to your destination. Check, I got that one down. You have to be in the field for at least 20 years to be a subject matter expert. Been there, done that. The other part would be, you have to carry a briefcase into the presentation. The few more things is carry a clipboard. Believe it or not, there's a clipboard in here. And one thing that I've had learned through many of the national presentations that I've been to is carry a laser pointer. I got a laser pointer in here too. Don't need it, but I'm ready. So we're subject matter experts.
There is not a clicker.
Very good. So just a brief description of myself and Life Team and why we're here and what we're trying to do. My career started in a town a lot smaller than Morton as a volunteer firefighter. And most of the time we actually just met at the station once a month to take the trucks and drive them around. But we did have a couple fires. Speed up the year about a year. The local ambulance service needs a little help. Let me explain. Okay, it was the real estate agent and the LPN that worked at the rest home. That was the actually ambulance service. So they put me through EMT school. I did that, loved it. So went to paramedic school in Kansas City, and then was a paramedic in a dual paramedic service in Lawrence, Kansas. Rock Chalk Jayhawks. Anybody? No? Okay. So had kind of peaked out with that and thought, oh my gosh, this I've been loading patients on helicopters. I think I actually want to accomplish that. So made the connections, did the extra training, and was a flight paramedic in Topeka, Kansas for Lifestar, best job in the world, and joined Life. They're starting up a helicopter service in another town about 2 hours away. I got 5 days off a week. And I was like, I'll go down there for a part-time job. Ended up actually signing on with them full-time as a program director. Myself and a partner, we took the service that we started in Wichita, Kansas with one helicopter and speed up the clock and a lot of drama. Over the last next 18 years, we ended up with 22 aircraft in 7 states, fixed wing helicopters and ground ambulances. We made a big transport system. One of my funnest projects was we actually put 3 planes in Hawaii. That was a tough gig, I gotta be honest with you. So, company's being sold to a big conglomerate. It's time to exit, and became a director for a small service. And they had some challenges with equipment and personnel and a few other things. Was there about 2 years. You know, those sitting events happen. They're in a good place. We had some stuff that, like, yeah, let's just look. So started looking. I wanted to be in a place where there was trees. So the Sentinel event would be a big car crash on I-70. The crews did great. I'm doing the 360 safety tour, and I just made a short pause and went, there is not one tree that I can see. So started looking, had some great opportunities, came up and visited Matt Sableman and took a tour of Adventure Medics and fell in love. It's a great organization, and more importantly, they're well funded, and they have a really commitment to excellence that I just bought off on. So I'm saying we a lot, but why did we move up here? It's because we wanted to be in a place, like the first doc that said it, is we want to be in a place that we want to end up having fun at. And we're having a lot of fun here. So this is kind of, we're not in Kansas anymore. You guys have some big trees here and so appreciate it. And the air is different, the sky is different, so we're having a good time. When I say we, it means lovely wife Lisa, and that's our fur baby, Regan. So, in 37 years of EMS, I can honestly say this is the best setup in EMS I've ever been around and probably will be around. We have a lovely 3-bedroom home with 3 bedrooms and a full setup for the crews to actually have a life at. The garage there actually will house our Sprint truck I'll talk about later. I'm actually on the 2nd story of the garage that houses the 2 ambulances and workout room and medication room, and it's just a great park setting for us to actually do this job. So we talked a little bit about where we're at. Let's talk about who does it. We have 3 paramedics full-time. We have 3 part-time or full-time EMTs. That's our crew as a paramedic EMT. Then I have 4 on each side of the EMT and paramedics. The conversation that Matt had with me when moved up here is he's having some staffing challenges, and my goal was build it and they will come. So we made a lot of improvements. We actually purchased this property, so it's ours, and we made it our home. And we made some really significant investment in the equipment and the crews as well. So we got some training going on here, but weather apparently comes in and just hovers over Morton. So flying somebody out that is critical and or on a vent just sometimes doesn't happen. Still doesn't mean that they don't need to get somewhere. So we made the investment. We have the same vent that all these flight services have that I've used in the past, and we don't want for anything, which is an awesome thing. This is our fleet. Our oldest truck right here is a 2020. Believe it or not, the 2021 has, how many miles does it have on, guys? Yeah, about 30,000 already. So these crews are really putting the miles on these trucks, but they do it safely and comfortably as well. And then the Sprint rig is something that we started, and I'll talk about that right after this. So why here? Why on Alaska, and why partnership with Arbor Health? There is a need to get patients where they needed to go to get to tertiary care, just a higher level of either ICU or surgery or trauma, and they're having difficulties getting those patients to there. That was born out of a need, and 3 years now, we stepped up. We made a partnership with them. We consider that one of the best partnerships this company has, and so appreciate the commitment that you guys have to us and to the patients. And we're glad to be a part of the community. Also part of the community is we're requested by a local fire department to help them with paramedic level calls on their 911s. So this truck sits at our station, and when Mossy Rock Fire District 3 just up the road gets a 911 call that's advanced life support, we roll down there. Our paramedic and EMT help them with whatever happening. Our paramedic will jump in with and take over patient care and then transport wherever they need to go. And it's been a great partnership at this point. A little bit about the company. Over off to your left would be, that's a row of vehicles we had at one event. And we do medical standbys, and this was actually the Desert 100, crazy as a shotgun, actually a cannon start, where 1,000 motorcycles went for the first leg and at the same time. So you can imagine the mayhem that actually occurred in it. And then the crew out here. Down below the truck, we actually do medical fires. That's where some of our Echelon is headed to California on an emergency call to get some crews down there on a leg of the fire that didn't have any medical support. So we do single resource where there's a person that goes with a hotshot crew, ATV, UTV teams that would drive out there and be with the fire crews. Medical trailer, which is up top, that actually is a dock in a box. Paramedic or RN and an EMT, they can do anything from antibiotics all the way up to PCR, COVID testing, IV fluid therapy to get that firefighter back out on the line. They're right there in the fire camps. Some of those fire camps are amazing. It's a town of 4,000 that built up in 2 weeks. So it's actually a great resource. So there's two things that I've actually had common questions from me, and one of them was, what's the worst thing you've seen? I'm sure some of the medical people here have actually had that as well. And some patients have asked, am I going to die? So I'm actually going to combine those two with also one more thing, one of the best choices I've ever made as a provider. So it's a middle of winter, and we fly down to a town in Oklahoma and land at the facility, and this gentleman's been 90% burned by hot oil. And you can just imagine the pain, and the oil's still on him. They can't get it off. It's that thick tar stuff. So it is literally from neck down. He was just literally just bathed in it. They have enough pain control that he's at least tolerating kind of what's going on. Our treatment plan, of course, is to knock him out, really treat this pain aggressively, and take him on to a burn center. Knowing what we know and been through the advanced burn life support classes and stuff, his chances of survival is almost zero. So that's a question I got. What do you do with that? What would you do? You answer it honestly. So the answer is, I don't know if you're going to be making this one day. Here's a decision that is really good that happened, that probably my best one is we delayed our care for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe, so the family could get there. Sorry. So they had their special time. And the patient ended up passing just 12 hours later, so good stuff. The other part, the statement actually is, gosh, how can you do what you do? And this is where my lecture is going to kind of turn off and give some more pointers on what can actually, the tools that you might need to face any kind of adversity, face a big challenge in your in front of you. And I'm going to talk about feeling and objective-based minded. So let's talk about the feeling first. So I'm going to set this up. It's not about the feeling's not about the trees, but I tell you, I was looking at the computer screen. That is a really strange slide to actually put up there, but that causes me some just anxiety of those big ass trees. So initial feeling. This is what I want you to pay attention to. I'm going to put a picture up there, and what's actually your initial reaction. Ready? So there's a couple ways you might look at it. Is one, it's scary. It's you might look away. You might feel anxiety. You might feel empathy or sympathy towards this person, and you might go, God, what do I do? I think with the training, and you set up all those pieces of the puzzle, that you can actually take this. I can almost guarantee you this gray section over here is a lean forward. They've already actually assessed It's probably level of consciousness. Does he have an airway? Is there a mechanism of injury? Is the scene safe? All those things that happen almost simultaneously and without even thinking about it. That's the feeling that it takes to get this job done. So let's take one more. Let's just take a splinter and see if you get the same feeling. You had a good reaction over there. So, remember the feeling, that we're going to talk about that later. Objective-based minded. That's the term I made up. I like to approach situations and or problems objective. My objective is what do I want at the end of this? And I approach scenes and or the chaos that we sometimes manage with that. So, pieces of the puzzle. I know what the picture is going to look like. I know what this puzzle is going to look like. So I'm going to line up all my pieces as much as possible to make this go as fast and as quick and as smooth as possible. Now that doesn't mean all of them are at the scene. That means that these two pieces might have been training, checking my equipment, making sure I know where I'm going, making sure I know where my maps are, my local protocols, all that prep work that we do to that. That's lining up those pieces of the puzzle. This is actually an accident scene. I flew in a small rural county in Kansas. The cell phones then were not as good as they are now, so excuse the pixelation of this. But this was a mess. But when I'm coming in, my picture of this is getting that patient from point A to point B as fast as possible, because I know somebody's time is very short, and I got to actually make that adjustment to make sure that that happens nice and smooth. So there's a lot of things about that that's just instantaneous that I'm thinking about, we'll talk about. But let's talk about the same puzzle. Let's just pretend I'm not prepared. I don't know exactly what to do. This might actually be a bystander actually at this piece. They might eventually get the patient out of there and maybe to a trauma center, but it's going to take a really long time. So their puzzle looks like this. It's jumbled. They don't know what it looks like. It's going to take them a long time to actually put that together. Now, let's put somebody that's maybe brand new, and really they know they need to get somebody there, but they haven't lined up all their pieces of the puzzle. They haven't done the training. They haven't made sure their equipment is ready. This is what their puzzle looks like. It's going to take a while for that to be put together. But if you got your stuff together and you know what you want, you know what the picture is of what you're actually trying to accomplish, this is what my puzzle looks like. Now, you can't actually apply putting this thing together in numerical order, because it might not go that way. You might actually have to accomplish 3 or 4 tasks before you go back and pick up that one. So I might be working on the edge of that, but tell you what, you're delegating somebody to go get your stretcher and bring it over. You don't have to. So it's all these pieces come together simultaneously. That's the goal. So back to the scene. Just real quick, there's so many things here that we take into consideration. You see big power poles, you don't see anything in between, but you know there's wires in between there. I'm in a helicopter, and wires and helicopters don't mix at all. Where am I going to land? Who am I going to talk to? I'm seizing up the scene of how many vehicles. I know this is a volunteer fire department, so I might actually have to manage some of their chaos with them together. There's a car over here in the ditch. Has anybody has actually checked that one out yet? And so on and so on. So we get there, and then this is what we're met with. So there's 4 cars there, believe it or not. This is a dump truck that was hauling rocks, sedan, small Toyota underneath. That's a tractor trailer. It was struck from behind. He was actually hauling 2 large trucks, propane trucks, on top of his bed. The interesting thing that when I put this up on a slide for the first time, I noticed 2 things about this picture that I've never noticed before. Orange globe right above that firefighter's helmet. I've never seen that before. And actually this is a highway that runs east-west. So that was actually a strange thing for me. And also down in the wreckage in the small car, there's actually an EMS cup. I never saw that one before either. So 2 things we're going to walk away. That's a successful lecture, is if you can, 1, end on time. 2, have a couple things you can walk away with. Here's number 1 that might save your life and somebody else's. If you're in a construction zone, make sure you can see the pavement of the vehicle in front of you. That might give you enough time to react. If you're in a stationary, like these people were, make sure that you have your tires pointed to your egress. Now it might not be towards the ditch. It might be a bad way that way. It might be going off in the other way. But if you do get hit from the back, it's going to make your car go off to that way versus straight under this. 6 fatalities in this one little crash right here. Every one of them was perilously passed away. We actually transported critical from the car way off in the ditch. They got struck and then thrown off in that way. Truck driver just didn't see the accident or didn't see the construction signs and plowed in about 70 miles an hour. So how do you actually get things accomplished with clear and concise communication? This particular crew that we worked with, we did a lot of landings on classes. I hadn't seen these guys ever, and because they're volunteering, it's the daytime, it was kind of a different crew. So how do you actually teach somebody that we're going to load a helicopter that could blades are spin at the speed of sound right above you, and how do we do this safely? Clear and concise communication. Yeah, you always ask for volunteers. I need 4 people to carry a spine board to the aircraft. I don't like appointing people because somebody might have a back injury and you might put them in peril, and probably your patient as well. So 4 people step up. Clear, concise communication. You got the front 2, we got on the corners. I'm going to be walking next to you onto the side of the side of you guys, and with clear directions. My partner's actually going to assist you putting it into the aircraft. I'm going to peel off to the back to make sure that nobody goes back to the tail rotor, because it actually is about chest height and it will kill you. And everybody keep low. We're walking slowly, and we're talking all the way. Clear and concise communication. You don't have to yell. You just have to be a voice that is understood and clear and acknowledged by all the firefighters alone. So that can go with in any situation. I use this technique when we're moving somebody. Is if you're taking a couch up some stairs, that definitely needs some clear and concise communication, because you could actually get hurt doing that. So the are you seeing a kind of a Wizard of Oz theme through this? We're from Kansas. What do you say? What do you do? So, do you have a chance, the courage to address that initial feeling that I shared with you? And here's a couple instances where I would challenge you is, can you make toast? I think everybody can. If you can make toast, you can actually use an automatic external defibrillator to save somebody's life. Great presentation on TED Talks when I was actually prepping for this, is the guy compared using an AED and making some toast. So somebody's actually using the voice like an AED and actually says, take bread out of wrapper, turn toaster on. So same thing with that. That's all you got to do is press it on. It'll tell you exactly what to do. So don't be afraid of doing that. Also, step up and learn hands-only CPR. It will save a life. I can promise you that. So to end with, make sure you turn your wheels out on an accident scene. Make sure you know how to make toast, and sign up for your next CPR class. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.